Really, this morning I was not, I'm not feeling very, very, I can say happy because something happened recently. Yesterday, I met a businessman. He was a friend of mine. Because what I've learned about sales is that, sales has reached a level that you need to, build a relationship with your customer, and this is called relationship setting. If your customers, if they don't get attracted to you, if they don't trust you, there's no way they can buy from you. So I'm a friend of this businessman, and we are so close that we get to talk about our past and things. So yesterday we were talking about when we were 20 years old. I asked him, I said, what would he do different if he get a chance to become 20 years old again? He said some things, and this kind of get to me. And the first thing he said is, he thought he would be having his own cars already. I mean, he said, wow, this is really, really deep, This is deep, and this is for boys that you're still in your 20s, and maybe you're making money, but you don't know what to prioritize. So you spend your money on, on weed, on sleeping in an hotel. You need to change your mindset about money and use your money wisely. This man was talking about how he was, because currently right now he's married, he has like 4 kids, and he's into this restaurant business, and he's making money, yes, but all the money he's making, he believes he's spending it on his responsibility, taking care of the kids, paying for the house bills. But just imagine that you don't have all these responsibilities and he focused on building himself first. Believe me, he will be successful right now. And he was saying he will be having his own car already. So a lot of boys are making that kind of mistake. They have the luck to be making millions currently. Some are even making billions. But what do they spend it on? The moment they start making this money, they believe it's high time for them to go and get married, or high time for them to be sleeping in a hotel. Same thing happened to me. When I was making this fund in illegal way, I made this mistake and I spent it on stupid things like sleeping in an hotel, buying clothes for friends, buying phone for girlfriends, doing all kind of stupid shit with money. And look at me now, all the way, all the way broke, not making the money as I used to, and I have quit the illegal way because it doesn't make me happy. So the message is, if you're still in your 20s or you're 25 or 28 and you're making money, don't make your next priority finding a girl that you settle down with. Build your life first. Build your financial strength first. Be financially free first. Be a millionaire or billionaire first. Find a business that you can do. Learn the handwork before you decide that you want to go ahead and get married. Believe me, marriage is a liability. The key that you'll be having is a liability, and liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. But if you have this chance of making this money, what you should be using it to do is making sure that you're using this money to do something that will be bringing money inside your pocket, not something that will be taking money outside of your pocket. If you make your first money right now and you decide you want to have a girlfriend, you'll be responsible for buying our wigs, for buying our phone, for buying our clothes. All these things are taking money out of you and it's breaking you down financially. You don't want to be in that kind of situation. You want to make sure that you find something to do. I was hearing things about ETF, crypto, forex, real estate. These are kind of things that you can invest on. You have network marketing too. You can invest in network marketing business too. A lot of things that you can do with your money instead of just making the money and finding a girlfriend that you'll be spending the money on. That's a stupid move on money. So you want to make sure that you're using your money for something that give you something in return. So let's continue with the book that we were reading yesterday on Rich Dad Poor Dad, and we'll continue translating it. So yesterday we stopped at the last paragraph, which says, having two dads advising me offered me the choice of contrasting points of view, one of a rich man and one of a poor man. This man was saying, having two dads advising him, offer him the choice of contrasting point of view. That is, him having this rich dad and poor dad, give him the choice to contrast their point of view. He was able to hear the point of view of the poor dad, and he was able to hear the point of view of the rich dad. So that way he was able to contrast it and make his own choice. Now, let's continue today. He said, instead of simply accepting or rejecting one or the other, I found myself thinking more, comparing, and then choosing for myself. A lot of people, when somebody advised them, instead of them to just make their own research on this advice that this person just gave them, what they will do is they will just accept the advice immediately and start implementing it on their life without making their own research on this advice, which is crucial to their growth. Because what you want to do when somebody give you an advice is that you want to make sure that you find out, is this advice this person is giving me, is it legit? But a lot of people, they will just make use of it as up, and they will eventually find out that this advice is not working for them. Meanwhile, why do you want to even do something that somebody is advising you to do? That person that is advising you is telling you to do it the way he or she do it. Now, when you try to do it the way he or she do it, that means you're trying to be second best. You can never be number one that way. That person that made it is number one. Now, you trying to follow that footsteps of that person will make you number two. You can be extraordinary. You can follow your own path, and you can try to make your own research and add your own instinct and add your own idea to it to make it unique. So, he said, I found myself thinking more, comparing, and then choosing for myself. After these two fathers advised him, he found himself, because the rich dad advised him what he needs to do to be rich. The poor dad advised him what he believed he needs to do in order to be rich. So he was able to compare the two advice and then choose for himself. He said he chose for himself. Nobody chose for him. He heard the rich dad advice, he heard the poor dad advice, and he chose for himself. That is what you want to do. You don't just want to, hear this one advice and follow it, hear that advice and follow it. No, you'll be lost that way. You have to be responsible, because at the end of the day, if somebody give you an advice and you fail, you don't want to be saying, yo, I fail because I followed that person's advice. I fail because I followed that person's advice. You want to be responsible for the consequences of your own choice, and that is why you have to choose for yourself. So it continues. It says, the problem was the rich man was not rich yet, and the poor man not yet poor. Yeah, the problem was the rich man was not rich yet, and the poor man was not yet poor. That means this two dad, which is the rich dad, is not, you have to be in a situation or in a position or accumulate some kind of wealth that will make you qualify to be rich. And you have to be in some kind of situation or some kind of, believe in a certain kind of life that will make you qualify to be a poor man. So he was saying these people are not, the rich dad is not yet rich, and the poor dad is not yet poor. He said both were just starting out on their careers, and both were struggling with money and families. He said the rich dad and the poor dad were just starting out on their careers, and both were struggling with money and families, and both of them were struggling with money and their families. Everybody, we have our beginning, we have a stage where we just get started on this chase for money. So he was saying the rich dad, they both started, both were just starting out on their careers, and both were struggling with money and families. So the two of them were just starting out on their careers. They're just starting something they can do, in order to make money. And both of them were struggling with money and families. The two of them, they have this challenge with money, and they have this responsibility on their families too. So He said but they had very different point of view about the subject of money. But the two fathers, which is the rich dad and the poor dad, they have different point of view on the subject of money. They think differently about money. They act differently about money. They behave differently when it comes to money. They take different decisions. They make different decisions when it comes to love of money. You just imagine that you have not eaten for 7 days. You have bills you have to pay. You have things to do with money. You don't have this money. How will you think? How will you think? Will you think straight? You cannot think because you don't have money. There's no way you can be happy. There's no way you can think straight. And the saying that the love is very, very wrong. Try and hate money. Try and not have money. Believe me, that is when you start thinking about kidnapping, doing bad things in order to make money because you don't have it. So the lack of money is the root of all evil. So the second dad believed that the lack of money is the root of all evil, which is you start to think evil. Like me, for example, like I used to say, this past few days, or few weeks, or few months, I've been thinking about going back into the Yahoo Yahoo, things that I have stopped for the past 6 years. Why do I want to go back to it? Because I've been trying to make it legitimately by rendering my writing service, my marketing service to people, and people don't believe in it. Whenever I try to market to the foreign clients, they will believe they can trust Nigeria and you can hire Nigeria, so they will not hire me. And if I try to market to Nigerian people, I mean the people that are having business in Nigeria, that let me help them to market their business, they will believe that they don't need a marketer to market their business. Most of them, 90% of them will say, God, they will say this Yoruba quote that Ọlọ́run ta ọjà so they don't need a marketer, that God will bring them their own customers. So this is making it hard for me to make money, and it's making me to think about going back to that illegal lifestyle, to that Yahoo lifestyle. It's making me to think about it, and believe me, I've been thinking about it so much lately because I needed money. So that is the lack of money is the root of all evil. When you don't have money, you start to think, let me go and do Yahoo, let me go and steal, let me go and thief. Because if you don't eat, believe me, I don't used to know that food has this power. But until one day that I did not eat for the whole day, the second day, the third day, believe me, that third day, I collapsed. That was when I know how powerful food is. So believe me, it will reach a stage that hunger will catch you because you don't have money. That thing that you want to do will it will choke you to the level that you'll be like, yo, I'm needing money right now. And if you don't have this money, you'll be thinking about doing dirty things. You'll be thinking evil, bad things of how you can make money. So the lack of money is the root of all evil, not the love of it. As a young boy, having two strong fathers, both influencing me, was difficult. He said, as a young boy, having two fathers influencing him was difficult. It's just like you're having two people giving you different advice. Like one, I was telling one of my team the other day that I used to have these two leaders. One would tell me that if you eat too much, it will affect your brain and you won't be able to think straight. And the other leader was telling me that if you don't eat, you won't be able to think at all. So I was wondering which one should I follow. One was telling me that food is good, it allows me to think. The other one was telling me that food is bad, that it won't allow me to think. So what was I supposed to do? So what I'm supposed to do in that kind of situation is to choose for myself. They can tell me that food is good or food is bad, but I'll have to be the one to make my own choice. Make my own findings, make my own research, and make my choice based on what I found. He said, I wanted to be a good son and listen, but the two fathers did not say the same things. He said he wanted to be a good son and listen, but the two fathers were not saying the same things. One was telling him the love of money is the root of all evil. The other was telling him the lack of money is the root of all evil. Now he wants to be a good boy. He wants to listen. But the two fathers were not saying the same things. So what will you do in that kind of situation? What will you do? The contrast. Extreme. The battery of the mic is kind of low and I need to charge it up. But I think that will be all on today. So where we stop this, I began to start thinking for long periods of time about what each was saying. You know, I don't know. Somebody's trying to send a message.